The United States, the United States of America and Israel. Issued the bill for.
You're saying the war did not start on October 7th?
Against the Palestinian people, yes. It was not started today.
Israel has refused any and all ceasefire proposals by mediating parties, citing Hamas's failure to release the Israeli hostages kept in Gaza, with protests breaking out in Tel Aviv over the continuation of the offensive into
Mic texting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can't hear you. Aditi, can you be louder? Okay. Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to begin in just a short while from now. Our guests are in. We are just waiting for them to come inside the auditorium, and as soon as that's done, we're going to start our event. Request all our guests to keep their phones on silent mode, and we'll just begin in like another 10-15 minutes from now. Thank you very much for your patience.
नॉइस है काटने के लिए इधर नॉइस का कुछ करो फिर वही तो निकाल रहा हूँ All right, can I request please our guests and audience to please be seated. If my colleagues can help our audience to please be seated. Vivek?
If you want to move out, tell them not to move out in groups. You want to go to the washroom? आराम से एक-एक करके जाओ. Do not move in groups.
All right, I request our guests and our audience to please be seated, and meanwhile that's being done, I would like to announce our sponsors for the show. This event has been co-presented by Reliance Digital, Personalizing Technology, and Samsung Z Fold 7, the thinnest and lightest Galaxy 7 Fold ever. Driven by Maruti Suzuki, co-powered by Raven Group, 75 years of trust. Jode Zindagi Ke Taar, with a special partner CRC, Building Values, knowledge partner Council of Architecture, Empowering Architecture, Transforming Nation, and beverage partner Campa Energy, Energy Ka Blast Superfast. I would like to thank all our sponsors. Request our guests to please be seated. Also keep your phones on silent mode. The event is going to start in just a short while from now.
हेलो सर,
आपने अमित को देखा क्या?
वो शायद लैपटॉप सेक्शन में होगा। अमित को देखा क्या?
स्मार्टफोन वाले सेक्शन में देखा था उसे। अमित को देखा क्या?
अमित को देखा? अमित को देखा?
It's okay. I'll come back later.
सॉरी सर।
अरे अमित, कहाँ रह गए थे आप?
सर आपसे वादा किया था ना कि इस साल के मॉडल पर आपका पहला आके बस वही लाने गया था।
वेलकम टू रिलायंस डिजिटल। यहाँ अजनबी से दोस्ती तक टेक्नोलॉजी और इंडिया का रिश्ता जुड़ता है।
How may I help you?
मनोज को देखा क्या?
Yes, sir.
रिलायंस डिजिटल, टेक्नोलॉजी से रिश्ता जोड़ो।
How do we choose?
I know. Gemini, my skin's dry but sticky from the heat. What here could help?
Tough combo. I see some serums which hydrate without being too heavy.
What do the Korean locals use?
Essence is like a light serum that's popular here.
Which one?
Now this is legit.
Presenting the Maruti Suzuki Victoris. Got it all.
Hello, Mr. Chetan. Greetings for your success. What about that which is not seen but critical?
Of course. You mean the data, right? It's also
एनर्जी अब जा तू भाग 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 कैंपा एनर्जी का ब्लास्ट सुपर फास्ट।
हेलो सर,
आपने अमित को देखा क्या?
वो शायद लैपटॉप सेक्शन में होगा।
Once again, a small announcement. Request our guests to please keep their phones on silent. We are about to begin in just a few moments from now. The guest will be here any moment now.
Rousing welcome.
All right, our chief guest is in along with our editor-in-chief. Can we please have a rousing welcome for all our guests? Thank you, everybody. Please be seated. Request the doors to be now closed. Can we also have all our audience to please be seated? Thank you very much, everybody. Pranav, over to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, industry stalwarts, a very good morning and a warm welcome to the Republic Business Leadership Conclave 2025, curated by Republic Business from the House of Republic.
Ladies and gentlemen, this conclave has been co-presented by Reliance Digital, personalizing technology, and Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, the thinnest, lightest Galaxy Z Fold ever, driven by Maruti Suzuki, co-powered by Rajan Group, 75 years of trust, Jode Zindagi Ke Taar, with special partner CRC, Building Values, knowledge partner Council of Architecture, Empowering Architecture, Transforming Nation, and beverage partner Campa Energy, Energy Ka Blast, Superfast. To begin today's event, please welcome on stage Ms. Tanvi Sood, Editor, Digital and News Strategy. Tanvi, can we please have your opening, and then we're going to have the opening session with our guest.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here this morning. It's a big day for us at Republic Digital, at Republic Business. On behalf of Republic Digital and Republic Business, which is hosting this event today, a very warm welcome to our sacred space, our temple of the news, the Republic Media Network campus. Over the past few years, the vision of our editor-in-chief and founders have taken shape and continue to take shape across this beautiful campus. Amidst the crickets buzzing and the chirping birds in what we call the forest at 158, we believe this forest is coming into endless and eternal bloom, and alongside it, so is Republic. The story has been told many a time, but it bears repeating. Republic began in a small room in Lower Parel, then moved into a newsroom carved out of an abandoned mill in Mumbai. And today, it stands as India's largest, but more importantly, India's most loved news network. Republic has not only expanded over English, Hindi, Bangla, and Kannada, but our wings have also spread into the hearts of the people. That has been our biggest victory. We have grown through the powerful reach of digital while carrying the mass appeal of broadcast. As of today, Republic Digital has branched into Republic Business with a formidable presence over text and video, Republic Defense with its pioneering Operation Sindoor Stream as India's only dedicated digital defense news service, Republic Sport Fit, which has helped us enter the pivotal areas of fitness alongside sports, and of course, Republic Auto and Republic Tech, which are our areas of growth and innovation. The bloom of Republic has come alongside the boom of Bharat. India today is not just the hottest market, but also among the most exciting markets and makers in the world. We have gone from being a passive consumer market to active innovators driving global growth. And that is a matter of immense pride for all of us at Republic Business. We are privileged to have distinguished guests amongst us, doyens and icons, including Mr. Rajan Bharti Mittal. Sir, thank you for being with us here today and inspiring all of us with your presence and your words later. We all remember the first black and white phones that we all had with no color screens, where the game of snakes was the only entertainment we really had. But we really remember that Airtel band that came right at the top of it. And as we were reflecting on this yesterday, we said that, when the iconic Airtel tune still plays, that jingle still plays, we're all still humming it. Now that's a product, building an eternal product, and we congratulate you for it and thank you for being with us today. From then to now, where companies like Airtel are shaping global markets, India's growth story is one where legacy blends seamlessly with high-tech and constant innovation. At Republic Business, we felt this is the finest moment to celebrate Indian business thought leadership. Since we are celebrating leadership, I'm going to take a slight detour for a minute. Let me take a moment to share a small story about what the last 6 months have been for Republic Digital. We have grown to become the largest and most viewed streaming service across the country. From December to May, Republic's growth on YouTube alone has crossed and breached 100%. On connected TVs, our growth has surged more than 375%. With deep investment in homegrown tech and native tech that we are building outside from this campus, we have taken even our text and website traffic to a growth of over 329% in just 6 months. Republic Digital today proudly stands as the largest streaming news service in the country, with being a formidable player in global streaming news. In moments of global significance, like in Tianjin in China recently, or before or alongside the Putin-Trump handshake, which happened in Alaska before that, Republic outperformed even global giants like CNN and Al Jazeera. Looking ahead, Republic Business seeks to blend bold opinion with simplicity, to break things down for the common man, to go beyond the headline. And that is why events like today matter. When we pause to celebrate thought leadership in business, reflect on Bharat's secret sauce, and discover what each of us can bring to push the envelope for the country forward. And that's where Republic believes we can make a difference. As India marches towards its $10 trillion destiny, this stage will host today the leaders and builders of that future. For that, we're indebted for you guys to take out time. Let's kickstart the day with a throwback to the Republic journey and the Republic vision, and then, of course, the most awaited session. India is now the 4th and soon to be the 3rd largest economy in the world.
When I first visited the US as a Prime Minister, India was the 10th largest economy in the world. Today, India is the 5th largest economy. India will be the 3rd largest economy soon.
And the Republic Media Network is the biggest success in the media space. We have grown from 10 million to over 450 million in reach in just 8 years.
थोड़े समय में ही इस रिपब्लिक मीडिया समूह ने जन सामान्य का विश्वास हासिल करने में जो कामयाबी हासिल की है, उसकी जितनी भी सराहना की जाए वह कम है। रिपब्लिक भारत मीडिया, अर्णव जी, पूरी टीम, आप सबको बधाई देना चाहता हूँ। आप लोगों ने, आपकी मीडिया ग्रुप ने एक साख बनाई है, एक आपने विश्वसनीयता बनाई है।
It's my joy, Arnab, you are bringing the much needed inspiration and information to people. And in a short time, Republic TV has done wonderfully well.
In 2016, Arnab Goswami quit Times Now. The resignation of India's most watched newsman made headlines in India and across the world. In India, Arnab is a cult figure and top of the charts in popular culture. But despite that, not many gave him a chance when he launched Republic from a small co-sharing space, less than 500 square feet of space, in Mumbai in November 2016. we transformed an empty and deserted oil mill into a modern news studio in just 4 months.
Hello, good morning, and welcome, my dear viewers of Republic. I don't know what the nation wants to know today, but today the game has just begun.
And when Republic launched in May 2017, it shook the Indian media industry by defeating all media groups right from day one.
Questions on ED, Rahul!
Not going to answer any of your questions, all right?
Mr. Chance, what lies ahead?
Our style investigative, exposing truths that other networks fear to show. Republic became an immediate craze in India.
लेकिन आपने भी तो उनसे बदतमीजी करी।
बदतमीजी फिर वही जवाब बोल रहा है दे देंगे दुम करना चाहिए यार बहुत सारे फालतू कर रहे हो।
Mr. Malia, barrack number 12 jail conditions are ready according to Team India. Is that not fine according to the jail conditions? Mr. Malia, are the questions bothering you? Mr. Malia, why are the questions bothering you when I'm not getting a single answer? Just answer one question, sir.
In 2019, Republic stormed into the largest language market in India, Hindi. And within a year, became the most popular news network with the motto and ideology of Rashtra Sarvopari, or Nation First. In 2021, from Kolkata, we launched a Bengali news channel. By now, we were recognized as the fastest growing news network in India. Our tagline, Manusher Kontoshor, or the voice of the people. In 2023, we entered South India with Republic Kannada from a center in Bengaluru. And the same year, we started the construction on our new headquarters in the National Capital Region, now the largest news complex in the country. Republic is the largest video news contributor in digital streaming. On digital streaming alone, we clocked 1.3 billion views last month, which is, by comparison, 5 times more than CNN International globally in a similar period. The next goal of the Republic Media Network is Republic Global. We plan a determined entry into global news by 2026, a vision we've been working on for 10 years now.
The hegemony of Western media has to end. Western media has had it too good for too long, and it has ruined the balance of power that's required, not just in politics and society. I was told you were a shy and retiring journalist. I have said recently that India will be the next media capital of the world. It is from countries like India, which speak English, which are democracies, where the challenge to the global news hegemony is about to come. And the time has come to provide a serious counter to global media like BBC and CNN, which have been hegemonistic for far too long.
Republic is, most importantly, independently and journalistically owned. Whom news media is federal. For us, it's and growing. I'd like to call on stage Republic Business Editor Pranav Kulkarni and Republic TV's Tanisha Awasthi to take the show forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tanvi, for setting the stage. Let's now proceed with the agenda for this power-packed day.
Our first leader has been at the forefront of India's telecom revolution. As the Vice Chairman of Bharti Enterprises, Mr. Rajan Bharti Mittal has been instrumental in building Airtel into a global telecom powerhouse, connecting millions across continents and showcasing India's ability to compete on the global stage.
Absolutely. In fact, from humble beginnings to becoming one of the world's largest and most respected enterprises, his story is a testament to Indian ambition and execution on a global stage. Let's take a closer look at his incredible journey.
Much before smartphones made it into our lives, when YouTube and Facebook did not even exist, social media, well, no one had heard of that. In India of that time, a tune became synonymous with our lives.
Hey, do you want to hear this?
It's nice. You want to add something more? It connected emotions. It demolished borders. Friends connected with friends. Not just outgoing, we paid even for incoming calls. No wonder then that children gave missed calls to just convey they've reached. But this is not just a telecom story. It's the story of dreams, determination, and more importantly, relationships.
चाय के लिए जैसे टोस्ट होता है वैसे हर एक फ्रेंड जरूरी होता है.
It's the story of Rajan Bharti Mittal, one of the three brothers who imagined the unthinkable and with their exceptional enterprising skills changed the way India connected.
You need to have the right spirit, you need to have the right, mindset. And that's what, the whole organization ethos, if you will see over the years that we have grown, from young lads coming from a very small town, it has been that do it the right way, do it the correct way, don't have shortcuts.
For most of us today, it's hard to imagine an India without Airtel. But much before Bharti resonated with Bharat's telecom leap, the journey began in a small corner of Ludhiana, and interestingly, with no connection to telecom.
My own story is a story of relationships. Bharti's DNA, Bharti's story is full of relationships. Who would have thought that people like us who come from up north, a small town, probably half of you would have not even heard about it, and probably most of you would not have heard about it, could make into New India, could make their own presence felt. Because this is a story, and this story will be repeated in this country often enough.
In 1976, the Mittal brothers, Sunil, Rajan and Rakesh, started with bicycle parts. By 1980, they had set up Bharti Enterprises, selling imported generators in India. The Mittals ventured into telecom, introducing India to push-button landline phones in 1984, a small revolution at a time when dials were synonymous with telephones.
When we started, we've done so many things that I really can't even, when I look back, people only see success. But there have been so many steps of failure before we've really got success in our story.
And then, in 1992, Bharti bagged one of India's first mobile licenses. In 1995, Airtel was born. It was the beginning of a journey that would transform the way India connects. Rajan Bharti Mittal, educated at Punjab University and with an MBA from Harvard, helped steer this vision into reality. Under his leadership, Airtel grew from a single mobile service in Delhi to a network that today connects over 600 million customers.
5G rollout in India is actually going at a very breakneck speed. As we speak, we've already rolled out in about 40 cities. Our objective is by March 24 to cover the entire country on 5G.
24 million new 4G and 5G subscribers, 20,000 new sites, and over 44,000 kilometers of fiber. India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and 14 countries, including Kenya, Nigeria, and Zambia. Airtel is one true made-in-India brand that connects the world, resonating the real spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And beyond the numbers and growth lies a belief in trust, in innovation, in inclusion, and an unshattered faith in brand Bharat.
What an amazing story, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Mr. Rajan Bharti Mittal, Vice Chairman, Bharti Enterprises, and Mr. Arnab Goswami, Editor-in-Chief of Republic Media Network.
Rajan, if I may call you Rajan.
Of course you have to call me. Don't make me feel...
It seems Mr. Mittal, Mr. Mittal.
I'm already
Mr.
old. Don't even make me look more
You're very
older.
young. You're very young. And you're young in spirit. And I just saw that video. It's so incredible to see that your story is the story of the growth of the country and what you've done. Ladies and gentlemen, these brothers, and I have a unique privilege of knowing them. And for that, I'm very grateful. They are so humble, they are so rooted. But when I first went to the United Kingdom as a student in 1993, 1994, my first international flight, I landed. And the first signboard I saw, the first board I saw, was that of British Telecom, the biggest British company. And today, the young lad from Ludhiana is the biggest shareholder of British Telecom. And that is the story of India, isn't it? Nobody would have imagined in 1993 that an Indian company, an Indian entrepreneur, Indian businessman from Ludhiana who started with nothing would reach this far. So I want you to start with your first moments that you remember from the world of business in Ludhiana and where you see yourself today. Just a broad sweep to start with before we get the conversation going. Thank you.
Thank you, Arnab, for inviting me here. And speaking, this is not my story. This is really the story of so many colleagues of mine, so many people who are attached to this larger game plan, larger family of Bharti. Me, my brothers, people who have been, guiding us at every stage. I come from a small town, as you saw, from Ludhiana. It's up north, and nobody thought, coming from a political family, you would ever jump into the commercial side. Normally, it's a kind of and I'm talking of the days when there was no connectivity. You guys were nowhere in the site to put the mics right up there. There was nothing. The news traveled after, I don't even know how long. And it's a usual practice that the political family will follow the path of the father and join politics. My father was very clear on one thing in his life: anything but politics.
I just paused for a moment. The Honorable Minister has just entered the room. I extend a very warm welcome from the stage, sir, please. Sir. Namaskar, sir. Namaskar, sir. Dhanyavad. Please, we'll continue, please. Please continue, sir. Thank you, sir.
So it's hard for people to imagine that the political family, that's the usual norm. And my father was very clear, anything but politics. And I have to be honest, both me and Sunil, I must refer to both of us, we were bad students. So we were just wanted to get out of college and do something. And that's how life started. And in Ludhiana, it was only textiles, garments, and bicycle. That was the only thing that was being done. Bridgmoon uncle, who was the patriarch and who was the chairman of Hero, he truly was, I have to say, somebody who shaped us, who's taught us the business values. So he's been a guide, a philosopher to us. And that's how we started our life in Ludhiana, to start the first to make bicycle paths. And then one day we decided that, this is something is not resonating with us. And we need to move out of this city, otherwise we'll be consumed here. And that's how we moved to Delhi in 1980. That was our first foray to come here. And we thought we will see how, life takes as young lads in early 20s. We started doing whatever came our way. The romance with telecom started really in mid-80s. So we'll talk about the telecom story. But that's how, when we came here, we did all sort of things, from generators, importing generators, and in 80s, those were the licensed Raj days. As somebody got a license, they decided to ban the import of generators. We had set up all the distribution network. We didn't know what to do. There was a fair in Taiwan where it was an electronic fair. We went and we saw this push-button telephones. At that time, if you saw, it's a distant dream. If I ask my young lads today, my kids, they have no idea there was a rotary phone. They have not been born at the time that they were. And I think sometimes when I talk to them, they really think that I'm kind of joking for many things. But that's a fact. And we saw that, and at that time, Indian authorities did not allow the phones to be imported. So, we were young, energetic lads to say we need to find a way, and we found a way. We did the mastery. There was a big book of import-export used to be there. So you had to master that book to understand what could be imported, what could not be imported. So we mastered that book, I have to say that. And it allowed you to do things. And we did that. We got casing in Bombay through ship, electronics in Delhi, wires in Calcutta, somewhere, and then assembled the phones.
Total jugaad.
Total jugaad. And that's how the first phone came, which was known as Mid Pro. This is much before B2. This is in mid-80s. And when the new Prime Minister, young Prime Minister came at that time, Rajiv Gandhi, and he started looking at India in a different way, that's how the telecom revolution started. And we were right up there, I would say, right timing. You were part of that field, and that's where we decided to partake in that. And that also, the government was very clear, we will let you know who will you partner, who are the technology partners. So there were Siemens, ITT Fache, and Ericsson. 53 licenses were given at that time, all the big houses of India at that time. We were one of them, but we were the C team. There was an A team, B team, C team. Depending on what you could invest, depending who you were. So we were a C team. We were given Siemens as our partner, chosen by the government, and we went ahead. And that's how that 85 to 90, we used to make all kind of push-button phones, cordless, and all the gadgets around that time.
I want to stop here and ask you, how did you give the name? Why did you give the name? When you moved in 1980, why did you choose the name Bharti Enterprises? With this name is in everybody's minds today, Airtel, Bharti. But उस समय क्या सोच थी आपकी, Rajan ji? What was your mind? What was your thinking?
My middle name, as you know, is Bharti. As you saw, all our brothers carry. This is the name we carried when I passed out my college. We never carried the Mittal name. So my father didn't want us to carry a surname which belonged to him. So Bharti meant Indian.
Yes.
And all these children. So if you saw my first passport, my college certificate that I passed my graduation, it only says Rajan Bharti.
Wow.
So Bharti meant Indian. So he just wanted us to carry no surname. And that's how we started.
So your father changed the family name?
Not his. For the kids.
For the kids.
For the kids.
What a thought at that point of time. Now, wherever your company goes, you're carrying your country's name with it.
Yeah.
Bhartiyata.
Yeah.
It's amazing that somebody thought of this.
That's how it started, and that's where
I must say your father had a great vision then. And that has impacted so many people across the world. It's amazing. So, this is a thought leadership series. I want people to draw from your learning. When a company decides to go for something that is seen to be very big, right? Because what I find about the Bharti brothers is that they're very big. They're always thinking of scaling up. They're going to the world, and they're constantly thinking of the next frontier. So, 1992, you got your first mobile license, okay? So it is a watershed moment for you. You get your first mobile license. You were the one, he was the one, by the way, who carried the Airtel bid to Sanchar Bhavan. He carried the Airtel contract, the bid to Sanchar Bhavan. And I'm told it was so big. It was so big that it needed a tempo full of boxes. So I want you to remember that moment. What was going on? Were you getting heebie-jeebies? Were you getting anxious? Were you thinking sometimes, are we doing something beyond our present capacity? वो सोच क्या होती है? I want you to remember the day, the moment, what led up to it, and when you won. Inside story. Rajan, on this stage, it's not going to be the business interview. We want the inside story of what happened. Yes. Will I get it? Yeah.
No, I'll give you the inside story. We were a tiny company. You have to remember 1992, we were a $5 million. And that time, probably dollar could be 50, 60 rupees. That's the revenue of the company. And there were 30 people who were making a bid. Just to kind of go back, we had tied up with Telstra. An MOU was signed, and I went to meet the team to sign the agreement. When I went there, they said, sorry, you're far too small for us and for our liking. We will not sign this agreement. And this is on the 10th, 11th hour, you can say. And we have tied up with one of the Indian companies, which had a big name at that time. And you can't, hold anybody. You have to believe, you have to trust. And that's where we studied and got, kind of an renegade team, so to speak. So we were so tiny. And the global leadership of telecom, that we said we had to put a bid. The good part was the bid was very, I would say, an open bid. It was a very clear bid. You have to charge a rental. I would say, now you're looking at the hindsight, it was a strange bid. But it was so open that you have to charge the rental to a subscriber from 0 to 1,000 rupees. You'll get 50 marks. You'll get 50 marks on your technical bid. So we didn't know how the commercial side will go. So we said we have to put a technical bid which has to really shock the department. And when I went into the lift, there were another 5 people from all the blue chip companies and carrying kind of 3 envelopes of this size of the paper that I am holding. And they said, where is your bid? I said, my bid is downstairs, people are getting it. They couldn't believe it. There was a tempo load of boxes. Win this license in any case because there was India of that time, that we are big boys, it's our right. And of course, when the bid opened, we had put a 100 rupee rental. Everybody else had put 900,000. So you lost 50% of marks in an exam, which is so very clear, is right up in your face, and you go and charge 1,000 rupees. And our technical department, they were absolutely, completely bowled over. It's a mind-boggling bit. It had gone to cases, and when the court had asked for all the files and the papers, we had got all the 4 licenses at that time. All the 4 metros. Bombay at that time, all 4. Of course, the government decided one company, one city. So our bid was that, strong bid that they couldn't refuse. So it was a moment that everybody was surprised and shocked that we are carrying 3 envelopes and there's a tempo load of papers that have come in.
How did it change your life after that?
Nobody would have invited me here if my life hadn't changed. So that's the starting point.
No, just
on a lighter note.
How did it change your company, the way you ran your process, the way you structured your company? You would have scaled up X, how many X times with that? With that, how many times from a 5 million company, how much did you scale up and in what time? Just can you give the numbers to us?
The first call was made in November 1995 out of Delhi.
Yes.
Then the process started over the years. As you know, there was another bidding in 1997,
yes,
which we lost, and everybody thought that this story is over. And we thought the bidding was completely out of whack, which proved to be true. And all those licenses started folding up and we started buying. So obviously the company grew, both organic as well as by. And of course, today, not only the All India company, but we also have stretched out. You see, from 1995, a 5 million revenue company, today is almost about $25 billion revenue company if you just take the telecom piece. So the growth has been stupendous. I think we have been at the right time in the right industry. And we should also not forget I call the economic liberalization and the economic independence that came in 90s.
Yes.
That has propelled for entrepreneurs like us and many more. It's just not our story, it's the story of India. How that economic independence that was started in 1990, early 90s, has propelled so many companies, so many entrepreneurs. So it's a game changer for the country and it's a game changer for our generation.
Why did the others fold up and you didn't? What did you do right, which other didn't?
I think two things we did right. We were passionate like mad for our customer. I'll tell you a story. When we didn't understand, we were not the telecom experts. My partners were also very tiny telecom experts. And all we knew was that if the customer is not happy, it doesn't matter what brand you carry, it doesn't matter which house you come from, it doesn't matter who your partner is. When we allied with Ericsson, who was the first time made a bet on us, I have to give credit to them, and they're still our partners today. All I asked them was, what will it take to cover Delhi? At that time, I mean, it looks like a joke now, they said 27 sites, that's all. Because there was no concept of indoor coverage. It was basically to start with covering the city. I said, I don't care, put 100 sites. And they said, are you sure that this will cost so much money and do you have that kind of money to pay us? And I said, of course not. We'll give you a letter of credit. The balance will be paid when we are happy. And that's historic. Ericsson still must have their letter of credit. That letter of credit speaks of a covenant to says when 90% will be paid on happiness. Nobody takes this kind of a letter of credit. And he said, you have to define happiness. I said, the happiness is when the customer of mine is happy, I'm happy. So we were mad about our customer, that, we have to ensure that the consumer, the customer is attached to my brand. And that's, people are more driven on tariffs, people are more driven on, commercial. We were saying profits will follow, don't worry about that. If customer is not happy, and that's the mantra I give to youngsters also, profits and all will happen. We have to, you run an organization, we run an organization. It is the customer that we have to be focused.
So this business is the most competitive business. Amazing. Very, very competitive business. And how do you, direct question. How is it going with Reliance these days with you? My friend Anupam is here. Hi Anupam. He's a great guy, by the way. Great guy. How do you compete with the Ambanis? How's it going?
No, I think we are a product of competition.
And not just that, I would say that, all the companies, Vodafone, Hutch, and all the others, and Reliance, Jio, what are you wanting to provide which you feel they can't? I'm always looking for that spot where you will have an edge over them. It can't be just capital. It can't be just money, can it? It can't be just capital.
If I may say, there have been two near-death experiences of telecom industry in this country, 2002 and then 2016. If you saw 2002, there were about 10 companies, 12 companies at that time. And it was a question of not if, it was only a question of when. Similarly, in the second round, which of course, many have gone, as you know that, only 3 companies are today there. And India is a large market. We are a product of competition from day one. If it was making phones, there were 53 companies who were making phones. If it was telephony, we were one of them among the half a dozen to dozen, depending on the time. We believe competition is always there, and it must remain, it must keep you healthy, it must challenge you, otherwise you'll be complacent. If you see historically, and I don't speak about pattern, companies have died in 1, 2, maximum 3 generations.
What makes a person complacent?
When you start taking customers, as if we always believe is the other way around. We are here because of the customer. It's never the other way around. We should never think as a company, because we provide the services and that's helping, it's the other way around. So you have to listen to the voice of the customer.
Is there space for any new player in telecom? The thing is that Rajan, Sunil Mittal, what they did in 1992 was with a license. Greenfield sector, they got in and they worked hard, they've worked for the consumer. But it's said today, it's Airtel is too big. Bharti Airtel is too big. Reliance Jio is too big. No third player can come. They will eat up everyone. I'm just trying to provoke you, Rajan.
No.
Is there space for another? Is there space for a 25 to 30-year-old daring young man or woman from Ludhiana or Gandhinagar or Tiruchirappalli today to say, this is a sector, I will compete with Airtel, I will compete with Reliance. Is it possible in today's India?
I'll be honest here. Global practices today, you see, and that follows, India follows also that global practices. Globally, telecom is getting consolidated.
Consolidated.
Everywhere. You see, US, there were 4 players. Today, they're left with 3. UK, 3. Every, actually, country today is consolidating on telecom because if you do not have the heft and the consumer base, you can't survive. And I'll be honest here, India has 3 players and BSNL, which is the 4th player. It's absolutely saturated because we are already at the cusp of touching everybody. So I don't think so. And you need big bucks to roll out today networks to cover all India. You need huge amounts of money. And there are 3 established players and a government player. And as I said, the worldwide consolidation on telecom is happening between 2 to 3 players, depending on the size of the country. So I think in India, there are 3 strong players.
So what would someone with your drive and your ambition, and how old were you when you started in Ludhiana?
I started in college. I was 17 and a half.
Now that's the question. What would a 17-and-a-half-year-old young man do today if he had your drive, your and Sunil's drive and passion and hunger? Your hunger, you know what it comes out from? That you didn't join politics.
No.
Because your father was a politician, you went out of it. What sector would a 17-and-a-half-year-old do today?
No, I'll tell you, world has, within our generation, I have to say, as I was seeing a whole lot of things here, it amazes me sometimes that how much we have grown as a country and how much as individuals changes have come in. There is enough today. Look at the younger generation. What are they doing? Electric, fintech, crypto. I mean, there are discussions around here which for even person like me who understands a lot does get a little, phased out. So there is enough. If you see the younger, look at the Bhavish, an Ola guy. Look at Oyo, Ritesh. You have to understand, Ritesh was one of my dealers of Airtel in Orissa.
Is that so?
Yeah. Today
How old was he when he was a dealer?
He was also a young lad, 17 years old.
He's still a young lad.
Yeah, he's still, sorry.
Yeah, amazing guy.
Yeah, he runs today Oyo. So there is enough capacity, the Zeptos, the Zomatos, I mean, you name it. So telecom is now going to be the bridge. Telecom will connect for all this velocity of activity that you're seeing. AI is coming in. That will play its own role. I don't think so that the next generation is to worry. I think there's enough on the table for them to go and look for newer ventures.
If India was such a big market and there's so much to do in India, why did you go to Africa? Why did you go global? Why didn't you consolidate in other industries here? I mean, I'll tell you frankly, I told you in the lift out there, when you went to Africa, when you and Airtel Bharti went to Africa, some people thought that this is the wrong move. They felt that you were diversifying too much. You were getting into high-risk geographies where you did not have enough knowledge of the risk factors that go in those respective countries. I was very proud, actually. I said, okay, it's a very interesting move. I thought this is a move you will use Africa to go to Europe, and exactly as you've done right now. But can you tell me about the day, the moment? So I'm taking you through chapters. 1992, first license. 1980, move to Delhi. The family does not carry the Mittal name, says... makes their children have the name Bharti, you change into new areas, and then suddenly you go global. So can you tell me what happened when you went global? Which year was it? What was your role?
It was 2010.
2010.
2010, Indian markets had pretty much kind of stagnated at that time because there were too many players. So the market share was stagnated, too many players, and we were all India player by that time. So all you could have done is consolidation. You couldn't have new territories. Company was doing well at that time, at 2010. Where else would we have gone with this Indian model? We couldn't have gone to Europe at that time.
Yeah.
We couldn't have gone to LATAM or US. China was out in any case. Africa, for two reasons. One, it's a large continent of 1 billion people. English speaking, great economic and political relationship with India, and much less telecom story out there. And we believed that the Indian model that had worked, the low-cost penetration, would work in Africa. And that's what we did. That's why we went in these countries, and we got an opportunity to buy a company which was already running, so it was a brownfield, it was not a greenfield. That's how we acquired in Africa. And it's been now 15 years. It's doing extremely well now. The areas are in Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, and the Francophone countries, they're all doing well. And Africa is a continent which will grow over a period of time.
How significant a player are you in Africa today in pecking order?
In the pecking order, we'll be number 2. Most markets will be number 1 or number 2. The markets
across
that we
the biggest African markets.
Yeah, the 15 markets that we operate, we are the number 1 or number 2. And I think there's enough growth because now the data is coming in. Airtel Money is coming in.
Tell me a story of what you learned in Africa. A personal story.
Well, we always thought on a lighter note that if you can drive in India, you can drive any part of the world. I strongly believe that how you maneuver here, you could. But one thing I would say, one learning we should take from Africa is one continent, but very different countries, different regimes, different regulations, different currencies. That's learning. People just think Africa and they just go for it. That's a learning we've got because Nigeria does not behave the way Ghana behaves. Gabon doesn't behave the Kenya behave because regulators are different. You meet despots, autocrats, kings, emperors, democracies, different currencies. I think that's one learning. India is cohesive. India is one country. India is one, regulatory system, governance system, currency. That's one big learning. Anybody who has to go to Africa must keep that in mind.
Did you and Sunil spend time there?
Fair bit. In earlier years, fair bit.
And did you think I'm spending so much time here, my business in India will suffer?
We are a very thorough professional setup. From day one, even when we were a very small company, we were very clear we want to be very thorough, professionally governed company. And we have kept that way, that the companies are governed in a very different manner and fashion.
In all this growth, how were you managing your balance sheet? How much was debt? Was that a worry? This is the one big trap, isn't it? You grow, you have expertise, ambition. You're at that stage of your life, you want to grow, and then somewhere some people may get into the debt trap. How did you manage that?
No, fair enough. Especially the Indian stress of the last few years has been there, and most of the companies have folded because of the reason the growth didn't happen, too much debt on the balance sheet. And I have to say, we have managed it well. We've raised about $17 billion in the last 5 years to deleverage the balance sheet, which meant the partners, us as a family, have shared some equity. Because for us, it's not about how much equity you hold. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. The companies, for us, if you go into my company, you asked me a question earlier, which probably I didn't respond, as to what is the difference when you talk about the other companies. If you walk into my company, everybody that you will meet will say, I'm Airtel. It's their own company. They believe in that they are the owners of the company. That is the kind of spirit that my company works with. It is not that my finance guy who is walking on the road.
That's true.
He will, if he gets a problem, he will tell the technical guys. I was just sitting here and I was seeing that the network is weak here.
Oh.
I've looked at Mehak and I saw that her phones were working or not. I've sent off my office a message.
You will not believe.
Check it.
I spoke to I spoke a week back while arranging this. I spoke to your new CEO, Mr. Shashwat. And I was talking to him on the phone, and at one point they dropped a little bit. He said, stop your car, where are you? It was like there had been a calamity. I said, it's all right, I'll just move a little आगे जो होता है ना कि network खराब हो जाता है. थोड़ा आगे जाके ठीक हो जाएगा. No, stop it there. Give me a location. I'm sending my people. It was like there was an Operation Sindoor going on there to solve the problem. But that is your Airtel logic.
That's my passion.
That's your passion. वो passion अभी भी है.
Absolutely. I'm the brand. If my network, and I'm telling you, after 30 years, it's still network, and an Indian consumer is very discerning. I don't get paid much, around what I see, around what people pay at the globe. If you've been in US, you've been UK, you know how much you pay and how much we get paid. But third basement, my phone's not working.
Yeah.
You go to center of London today, you go to center of Manhattan today, networks don't work.
Really?
I mean, I go around the globe, I see that. Here, the third basement will say, I can't call my driver, aapka network nahi chalta. And people call me, I mean, if my network is bad, I'll be honest. And there are days when sometimes, at least I live in Delhi, I don't socialize in the evening. Because nobody else is bothered. They'll all come to me and say, your network doesn't work. So I don't even socialize in the evening if my network...
No, but ye thoda,
I have to live with my
you're always paranoid about this one thing, because as you become bigger, and this is a thought leadership, see, as a person grows, as a company grows, do you keep the basics with you? We forget that sometimes. No? You seem to have kept that basic very strongly with you.
Every large company fails because they've left the basics.
Explain this more. This is a very important learning. We have Shivam here. He's just taken over brand of Motorola globally. So these are big lessons for us, Every brand fails because?
Because when there's a large company syndrome, you forget the basics.
What is the large company syndrome?
You know how large companies work.
I don't know. It's not a large company.
No, it's not my job.
It's not my job.
It's not my job. It's a technical guy's job. Please go and ask him if your network is not working. Your billing is not right, go ask the finance guys. It's not my job. Now, that's a large company syndrome that I work in silos.
Wonderful.
Okay? You work in silos, you will get results in silos.
So there's no team spirit.
There's no team spirits. You have to, that's what I'm saying. If I see that my network, I can say it's not my, how do I care? I sit in the corporate office, it's not my job. It is my job. I'm the brand. My finance guy's job is to make sure my guy who drives me, he's one of KRS. If he finds a drop call, he has to tell my guys in my corporate office for them to tell technical guys. He's one of my KRS, my guy who drives me.
Can you build that culture in Africa where you're running?
We do.
Oh,
Even
you do?
There, absolutely. Because we are in a service industry. As I said, we are here because of you. It's not the other way around. And the weakest touch point, let's talk about service industry. The weakest touch point is what? You enter a 5-star hotel. If the Darban doesn't treat you, forget that you will probably go and be happy. Your impression is, damn, I'm not too sure about this hotel. And that's the first moment of truth. So the large companies forget that. So you have to be nimble. You have to be doing the right thing and not feel afraid that I have to start from basics.
Can you do that in British Telecom?
Early days. We are a shareholder now. As you talked about British Telecom, you know that British Telecom was my largest shareholder in 1997.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
They held 28% in my company.
Wow. And how much do you have of British Telecom now?
We hold now 25%.
So this is the story of India, ladies and gentlemen. What a story, man. We're so proud of you. Rajan, let me explain this once again. When he becomes big, they own 28% of British Telecom. And today you own?
We own 25%.
I sometimes have a feeling you will not own 25% in the future.
That's a wait and watch. We have to see how things
You entered
progress,
and slowly grow. This is a beautiful story. I want to tell you something. That young man there, sitting in the front there, he was with me in school, in Mount St. Mary's, Delhi, Kent. And he has bought Java and Yazdi motorcycles.
I'm aware of that.
And that's what connects us. We have Indian businessmen and entrepreneurs owning the biggest and most important British brands. So that is when you go to the BT office, do you still carry that feeling that I will bring the Indian jugaad? The way of Indian doing things, is that a good or a bad thing when you're running a big company? Is the work culture different in Britain, in Africa, and in India? is it possible for a company like Bharti Airtel to be universal in terms of work values and standards? Or is it going to remain different?
Every country and every way of working has to be different, and you should never impose. You have to give the best practices. I mean, that's the way companies do. Even in Africa, when we have gone, it was not a green field as I mentioned.
It's a brown field. Yeah.
So you have to inculcate culture. You have to inculcate certain ethos and allow them the freedom to run the way it should be. Because the moment you impose anything, there is always a pushback.
Okay.
So the biggest ethos that we have is we are customer. And we have challenged internally also, who comes first? My colleagues, my employees, or the customer outside? This debate has happened for a while, and we have finally reached a conclusion, and we follow that practice today. My number one is my employees and my colleagues. Number two is my customer. Number three are my stakeholders and investors. Number four are the shareholders. I come number 5 as a promoter. That's the ethos. Because if my internal employees and my colleagues are not happy, there's no way they're going to make my customer happy. If I'm unhappy, I don't look after my own people. Somebody calls, what is the reaction he's going to get? Not very happy reaction, I assume. So he has to be the happy. And so we've changed that. Earlier it was customer. We said first our internal customer. And these are the ethos we will bring on the table. And then every company has their own ways of, and that's the way it should be done. Work cultures are different, nations are different. In India is on a very high-speed growth. India is on a very high-speed velocity, as you see. People are engaged. Europe is different. US is now becoming very different. Africa is different. So we have to live with that, and there's nothing wrong or right. It's just that you inculcate your basics, your culture, your ethos, and then work along with it.
As you build a company over a period of time, do you worry about some huge disruption, unimagined coming, which may change the fundamentals of your business? Now, the danger in telecom is that you're so dependent, or rather the risk factors of a small change of technology being consumed by a lot of people, accepted, may change the fundamentals of the business. For example, do you look upon Starlink as a competition? Starlink is operating in 6,400 satellites. It's offering services to more than 100 countries, right? And Reliance Jio and Bharti's OneWeb. OneWeb has, in a way, you're planning LEO constellations, you're planning to compete in orbital planes. The game is changing, it's going to space. Do you worry that there may be one big disruption which you may not have planned enough for? A. B. Do you prepare for disruption in advance? And what is your overall approach towards it?
We have to be fundamentally clear, technologies change, that
Yes.
tectonic shifts happen. And we have seen it with our own industry. If you remember early 90s, there used to be something known as pager. Everybody carried a pager, then you went to the STD booths and made a call or whatever that happened. Pager is gone, completely gone. Nobody thought that it'll happen. It happened. Technologies change technology. So you have to be careful. You have to watch technologies. You have to partner with technologies. We are fundamentally very clear. We will partner with the best technologies. We have our own constellation, OneWeb, which is already up there in the sky. There are 730 satellites already there. We're serving Europe, part of Europe. We'll start serving India as soon as it happens. Starlink is serving the world. It will come to India. They will come through the terrestrial networks, which they have done in US, as you know. They go through Verizon.
Why did you partner with them?
Because most India is covered on the terrestrial networks. There are areas where terrestrial network will never reach. And if you have to give
even
broadband...
if Elon Musk wants to come India, he has to come through you.
As of now, that's the way it will happen. But tomorrow, if there is a direct-to-device, that could also happen. Then there'll be another competing product.
What if the battle between you and Elon Musk, or between Mukesh Ambani and Elon Musk, and Mittal brothers and Elon Musk becomes intense? Can the partnership break at some point? At that time, direct question. See, Rajan, only I can ask you these questions.
I know that.
These business journalists will not ask you. मैं तो खुल के पूछ लेता हूँ. At some point of time, can Elon Musk understand what works in India? Because technology is not everything. Relationships, understanding of the local market and nuance is also important. So do you visualize such a situation?
You know, and I'll give a short answer to this long question. As I said...
You're not avoiding my question.
No, we compete and we are a product of competition.
Right.
And I believe if there's another, avatar of competition, in whichever technology way it comes, we will compete. And I think terrestrial networks and today are in India, I would say 98% coverages, barring one odd forest hills where the broadband is not there.
Yeah.
You may still be connected, but broadband is not there.
Yeah.
That's where the satellites will come into play.
Yeah.
And otherwise, as we have seen today, satellites have to go through the terrestrial networks, which they will go, and we have already partnered.
Yeah.
We will go through as the changes come.
Yeah. I think you're thinking 10, 15 years ahead, which is absolutely wonderful. Why don't you go into other businesses? I asked you the question when I met you. You're a big company. India has many areas. Why don't you get into clothing, fashion, software? There are so many areas. You're a big brand. Does the temptation come into your mind? And again, being a thought leadership series, I'm trying to understand your thought in this. You have capital, you have access to capital, you're very, very secure where you're placed. You've deleveraged your company beautifully. I think hats off to you for that. You are global. Does the temptation come for you or Sunil or any of you to, or the family members, let's get into other businesses, let's become a very diversified company? Would that work for you or against you?
You know, every house has two different models. One is diversification on different areas. One is consolidation as to what you're doing. We did attempt, I have to be honest, we did attempt in retail. At a given point of time, as you're aware, we were partnered with Walmart. We ran there for 7-8 years. The policies were not conducive in this country.
Now?
Still not. They don't allow, that's the only area where the foreign direct investment is not allowed, as you know, in retail. Though there is a dichotomy, but I don't want to get into that because there's a policy decision. And Walmart then finally decided to move out, and so did we. And that's where we decided we want to get into the areas that we understand. There are global opportunities for the same. We understand telecom in and out. Why should we not do what we know best? And that's where we are applying all our now mind towards that area and we are already a global telecom player and enhance that portfolio rather than going into something which there are tens of other people already established and it becomes a me too kind of a product.
That's a very clear thinking, and I really appreciate that. You know, you have so much value for domain expertise. How do you see the India story? I mean, beyond the frills, beyond any of the romance of it, can you tell us, how do you see the India story in a very realistic way right now? Where are we placed?
You know, I have to say, because I meet a whole lot of people around the globe, India's story, as I speak today and seeing how the geopolitics is, seeing where the world is, I think we are a very bright spot. We shouldn't lose that momentum. You know, these opportunities and chances don't come very often, and especially for a country which is 1.4 billion plus, the younger generation out there, and enough internal markets. I think we are all set there for the coming 10 to 20 years to put this India growth story on even hugely on a global map. Who would have seen Indian companies, not only us, tens of other companies are going out today, buying brands out. I mean, it's not a one-way flow that people are coming in India. Indian companies are going out. That tells you the heft, the strength of Indian companies and Indian economy. Today we are at 4 trillion. We will be soon moving in that needle. Certain changes probably need to be done.
What would they be?
One is on manufacturing. I have to say, I have been a proponent for many years that India would never be a manufacturing country. I've been proven wrong, I must admit that. We are moving that needle. Is it fast enough? Maybe not. But is it going in the right direction? Absolutely. So clearly, with the kind of population that we have today, if we don't move from agriculture, which, as you know, we are at about 47% of people are employed in agriculture, giving an output of only about 12% to the GDP. That's a very mismatch. We are at about 16% of GDP on manufacturing, which we have stagnated or actually degrown over the last few years. And then services is about 60%. There's too much of services-led economy that India is today. We need to be about 25%, ideally, on manufacturing. And that's how the next generation, the newer generation will get jobs. That's how the growth will happen. So from agriculture to manufacturing to high-tech. That's normally the growth needle that happens. We moved somewhere, leaving the manufacturing piece, which we now, this government, and I have to give credit to this government fully, that the thought process on manufacturing, they've understood this, that India needs to be that global base. And I think we are moving in the right direction towards that. So if that piece moves from 15 and a half, 16 to 25 plus, you will see a dramatic change.
Where would you, last question, where would you see 22 years from now, Airtel Bharti in 2047? Where do you visualize?
22, how old will I be? So it's difficult to visualize. But as I said, our focus is on telecom. Our focus is pretty much on being a player, global player, which hope more opportunities are coming through. And many opportunities do come to our table. And we want to be doing the right way, find the right moment to go, wherever we find the right structure, right country, right telecom companies. So our life is going to be telecom. That's pretty much given. So the growth story will be telecom. India has been done. Africa, maybe more countries come on the table. We'll have a look at them and many other opportunities that come away.
How do you remain rooted? How do you remain? You know, one thing I noticed when I come to the Airtel office every time, other companies, as they become bigger, you know, the offices become fancier, the cars become bigger, the retinue becomes larger, the security number people become bigger. With you, every time I have come to the Airtel office, everything is the same, and that's simplicity. It's very functional. And I love the fact that there's a completely non-ostentatious people, very simple people. So I want you to share this with, because it's important, you know, simple living, high thinking. How does Rajan Mittal remain rooted? Are you rooted, you feel? What keeps you rooted?
I think it's the values that comes, you know, it's your values that when you're growing, the values that your parents give, the values that you see. You've come from the trenches, you should understand everybody's pain points, let's put it this way. And there's no reason to be going off the whack. Where is the reason?
Do you value yourself in terms of your personal wealth?
No. You know, wealth, as I said, at the end of the day, what does it do for you? Nothing. Wow. It only boosts your ego, which you don't need it, because that's the biggest killer of as a human being. So what are the requirements as a human being? Not much.
Wow.
So our job should speak, and our work should speak. And last bit, I just want to leave it here is, it's not only the work, the passion that we have. Our passion has grown towards education. My foundation, Bharti Airtel Foundation, today funds education in this country. 500,000 children in rural India. We run Satya Bharti schools, scholarships. So we have taken education as a prime focus to give back what the country has given us. Because I believe two fundamental challenges that this country faces and needs to mitigate: education and healthcare.
That's wonderful.
So these two, and if we don't have the proper education, you don't have many other things led to that. So we have taken that punt on us to say, we have to give back to this society, which has given us so much, and education is the means.
Well, I thank you very much for this. Everybody has been in rapt attention as you were speaking. And I think for a person like you, who has achieved so much in India and globally, you have a long way to go. I see Bharti Airtel as the #1 telecom company in the world in 2047. And I hope that you do everything to get there. I thank you very, very much. And I loved your simplicity, I loved your style. I thank you for the effort of coming here today. Rajan, thank you so much. Round of applause for him, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much for these very, very inspiring words. Every word you spoke here was an entrepreneurship lesson for all of us sitting here. Can I request you to accept a small token of appreciation from us at Republic and Republic Business? Thank you very much, Mr. Mittal. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated as we welcome our next speaker, our keynote speaker for this event. I request everyone to be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Our next speaker is here. He will be addressing all of us shortly. This event is sponsored co-presented by Reliance Digital, Personalized Technology, and Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, the thinnest, lightest Galaxy Z Fold ever, driven by Maruti Suzuki, co-powered by Rajan Group, 75 years of trust, Jode Zindagi Ke Taar, with special partner CRC, building values, knowledge partner, Council of Architecture, empowering architecture, transforming nation, and beverage partner Campa Energy, Energy Ka Blast Superfast. Everyone please be seated. We will soon have the minister address all of us. Our next speaker, our next keynote speaker this morning is a distinguished leader who has always stood at the forefront of policy and governance, championing India's growth story with a vision rooted in self-reliance and global leadership. To tell you more about Mr. Harsh Malhotra's journey, let's first watch this short AV.
In the journey of India's progress, leadership, vision, and commitment drive the nation forward. Shri Harsh Malhotra, Minister of State for Road Transport and Highways and Minister of State for Corporate Affairs, is a leader dedicated to building strong roads, strong institutions, and a stronger India. In the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, he contributes to shaping India's infrastructure, paving the way for safer, faster, and more sustainable connectivity across the nation. As Minister of State for Corporate Affairs, he supports India's vibrant business ecosystem, ensuring transparency, good governance, and a conducive environment for entrepreneurship. From roads that connect people to reforms that empower businesses, Shri Harsh Malhotra stands committed to India's vision of development with inclusivity, innovation, and integrity. A leader for progress, a voice for growth, a vision for the future. Shri Harsh Malhotra, Minister of State for Road Transport and Highways and Ministry of Corporate Affairs.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Harsh Malhotra, Minister of State, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, and Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Please, sir.
भारत माता की। आज रिपब्लिक पे सबसे पहले मैं जो देश के प्रधानमंत्री और विश्व के वन ऑफ द टॉलेस्ट लीडर आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी को उनके जन्मदिवस की आप सब की तरफ से भी बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। बधाई इस बात की है कि वो शख्स जो अपने जीवन के बाल्यकाल के समय से जो भी विषमताएं उन्होंने देखी, एक चाय बेचने वाला बालक जब मुख्यमंत्री बनता है, जब प्रधानमंत्री बनता है, तो जो उनका बचपन है वो उनकी विजन में झलकता है। उनको ये समझ में आता है कि एक टूटे हुए कमरे में जब माँ चूल्हे पे लकड़ी जलाती है और खांसती है, भोजन बनाती है, उसके आंखें, उसके लंग्स खराब होते हैं, तो उनको ये ध्यान रहता है जब वो मुख्यमंत्री या प्रधानमंत्री बनते हैं कि देश की 10 करोड़ माताओं को उज्ज्वला योजना के माध्यम से फ्री सिलेंडर और फ्री चूल्हा देना है। उनको ये ध्यान रहता है कि जब वो बड़नगर में रहते थे तो वहां पे भी घर में शौचालय नहीं था। अगर जहां घर में शौचालय नहीं है और घर की माँ बहन सूर्य उदय से पहले और अस्त के बाद जंगल में जाती है प्रसाधन के लिए, शौच के लिए, तो वो बात उस बच्चे के मन में प्रधानमंत्री बनने के बाद जो वो अपना पहला वक्तव्य, अपना पहला भाषण लाल किले के प्राचीर से देते हैं, जिसमें वो स्वच्छता की बात करते हैं। डिस्पाइट कि उस समय के अपोजिशन ने खूब मजाक उड़ाया कि प्रधानमंत्री लाल किले के प्राचीर से आधार कार्ड को बैंक के साथ जोड़ने की बात कर रहे हैं, स्वच्छता की बात कर रहे हैं। यहाँ पे तो इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस की बात होनी चाहिए, चाइना, पाकिस्तान, अमेरिका की बात होनी चाहिए, लेकिन उनके मन में ये बात थी कि उनकी माँ बहन जो घर में शौचालय ना होने के कारण जंगल में जाती है, खेतों में जाती है, तो उनके सम्मान की रक्षा के लिए आज 10 करोड़ से ज्यादा घरों के अंदर शौचालय और सार्वजनिक शौचालय बनाने का काम उस बाल मन ने प्रधानमंत्री बनने के बाद किया है। यह उनकी विजन है। और जो बात उन्होंने अपने पहले प्रधानमंत्री के रूप में भाषण में लाल किले के प्राचीर पे कही कि आधार कार्ड को बैंक के साथ जोड़ना है, आप सोचिए इस छोटी सी बात ने कितना बड़ा परिवर्तन देश की इकोनॉमी में किया। और जनधन खातों के माध्यम से 50 करोड़ से ज्यादा जीरो बैलेंस के अकाउंट उन गरीब लोगों के अकाउंट, और उसमें 60% मातृशक्ति के अकाउंट जिन्होंने कभी आज तक बैंक नहीं देखा था, उनके जीरो बैलेंस के अकाउंट खुलवाए, जिससे कि उनको जो सरकार से आने वाला बेनिफिट है, जो सब्सिडी है, जो आज से 11 साल पहले की सरकारें, बीच में ब्यूरोक्रेट्स और नेता, सरकार से चला हुआ 1 रुपया, स्वयं प्रधानमंत्री राजीव गांधी ने संसद में कहा था कि केवल 13-14 पैसे पहुंचता है। आज डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट स्कीम के माध्यम से, डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर के माध्यम से गरीब व्यक्ति के अकाउंट में केवल एक बटन दबाने से सरकार का 1 रुपया चला हुआ 1 रुपया उस गरीब आदमी तक पहुंचता है। ये प्रधानमंत्री की विजन, और इससे लाखों करोड़ रुपए का भ्रष्टाचार खत्म हुआ। ये हमारे विजनरी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सोच है। न केवल इकोनॉमी, इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस, देश की सीमाओं की सुरक्षा, देश का जो युवा खेलो इंडिया के माध्यम से उनको प्रोत्साहन देना, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के ऊपर विशेष जोर देना, ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस उनका सपना है। आज अगर 25 करोड़ देशवासी गरीबी रेखा से बाहर आए हैं, तो ये नरेंद्र मोदी जी की विजन है, जिसके कारण से आज देश की इकोनॉमी भी विश्व में चौथे नंबर पर पहुंची है। आज हमने जिस इंग्लैंड ने हमारे देश पर, जिस ब्रिटेन ने हमारे देश पर 200 साल तक राज किया, आज हमने इकोनॉमिक स्फीयर में उसको भी पीछे छोड़ दिया है और आज हम विश्व की सबसे तेजी से बढ़ती हुई इकोनॉमी है और विश्व में चौथे नंबर पर है। जो छोटे छोटे स्टेप्स हैं, आज अगर रेडी पटरी वाले की बात किसी ने सोची तो वो नरेंद्र मोदी प्रधानमंत्री जी ने सोची कि ये बाजार से लोन लेता है, बड़ा ब्याज देना पड़ता है, जिसकी परसेंटेज का हिसाब भी नहीं लगाया जा सकता। अगर स्वनिधि योजना में किसी रेडी पटरी वाले को 10,000 20,000 का आसान किश्तों पे लोन मिल जाए और वो अपनी आजीविका कमा पाए, तो ये देश की इकोनॉमी में जो इजाफा है, ये हमारा छोटे से छोटा रेडी पटरी लगाने वाला भी देश की इकोनॉमी में इजाफा कर रहा है। अगर मैं एजुकेशन की बात करूं तो आज से 11 साल पहले देश के अंदर, अगर मैं एमबीबीएस की सीट्स की बात करूं तो 51,000 सीट थी, आज 1,18,000 सीट्स हैं। मेडिकल कॉलेज 387 थे, आज 780 मेडिकल कॉलेजेस हैं। प्रधानमंत्री जी का यह सपना कि देश के हर जिले में एक सरकारी मेडिकल कॉलेज होना चाहिए। इसके साथ साथ अगर 2014 से पहले देश के अंदर यूनिवर्सिटी 723 थी, तो आज हर तीसरे चौथे दिन एक नई यूनिवर्सिटी खुल रही है और आज देश के अंदर लगभग 1350 यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं। कॉलेजेस की संख्या 52,000 से ऊपर पहुंची है। 2014 से पहले देश के अंदर अगर 7 एम्स थे तो आज उसकी संख्या 23 हुई है। एम्स केवल हॉस्पिटल नहीं है, ये हमारे मेडिकल रिसर्च के वो सेंटर्स हैं जिसमें हमने कोविड जैसी महामारी का भी सामना किया है। देश के अंदर इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मैनेजमेंट 13 थे तो आज 21 हैं, आईआईटी 16 थे तो आज 23 हैं। ये जो एजुकेशन के अंदर इतना मूलचूल परिवर्तन है, ये प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी और उनकी टीम की विजन की देन है। आज अगर देश में हम अपनी इकोनॉमी की बात करें तो हमारा एक्सपोर्ट लगभग $850 बिलियन पहुंचा है। $850 बिलियन आज हम एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं और आज डिफेंस सेक्टर के अंदर जो हमारा एक्सपोर्ट है वो 30 गुना बढ़ गया। आज ब्रह्मोस मिसाइल जो कि साउंड की गति से भी तेज चलने वाली है, उसको हम एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं। आईएनएस विक्रांत हम बना रहे हैं, आज फाइटर जेट हम बना रहे हैं, आकाश मिसाइल हम बना रहे हैं। ये आपने अभी देखा, जब हम देश की सीमाओं की सुरक्षा की बात करते हैं तो 2008 में जब मुंबई में कराची से आए हुए आतंकवादियों ने हमला किया था तो उस समय की सरकार सिर्फ पेपर के ऊपर ट्रीटी कर रही थी और कोई एक्शन नहीं था। लेकिन पुलवामा, उरी, इसका हिसाब किताब सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक और एयर स्ट्राइक से लिया और पाकिस्तान के अंदर 100 किलोमीटर दूर अंदर जाकर के जो आतंकवादी ठिकाने वहां फल फूल रहे थे, उनको नेस्तो नाबूद किया। और अभी पहलगाम के आतंकवादी कायराना हमले के बाद अगर प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा था कि ना केवल आतंकवादी बल्कि उनके आकाओं को भी हम सबक देंगे और वैसा सबक देंगे जो वो जीवन भर याद रखेंगे, तो वो सबक ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के माध्यम से किया। और आप देखिए, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर का नाम सिंदूर भी इसलिए रखा कि उस बहन को आतंकवादियों ने कहा था उसके पति को मारते हुए जाके अपने मोदी को कह देना। तो उस मां का, उस बहन का सम्मान करते हुए ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के माध्यम से जो पाकिस्तान के अंदर घुस के बिना सेना को एंट्री किए वहां के 100 किलोमीटर दूर के जो आतंकवादी ठिकाने थे वो नेस्तो नाबूद किए। तो भारत की सेना, जिसको प्रधानमंत्री जी ने फ्री हैंड दिया, खुली छूट दी कि आप अपना प्लान बनाइए, आपको कोई रोक टोक नहीं है और अपने प्लान के अकॉर्डिंग एक्शन कीजिए। पूरे विश्व ने देखा भारत की ताकत को। कितने भी ड्रोन्स अटैक हुए, कितने भी मिसाइल्स अटैक हुए, उस समय भारत के ऊपर एक भी अटैक भारत के अंदर घुस के कुछ नहीं कर पाया। तो ये भी हमारी टेक्नोलॉजी, हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी, हमारे रक्षा मंत्री जी, उनकी सूझबूझ, हमारे टेक्नीशियंस, हमारे वो इंजीनियर्स जो दिन रात देश की सेवा में लगे हैं, ये सारा श्रेय प्रधानमंत्री जी की विजन के साथ साथ उन सबको भी जाता है, हमारी सेनाओं को जाता है। मेरे पास रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट का काम भी है। लगभग 1.25 साल से मैं इस काम को देखता हूं। 2014 से पहले देश के अंदर नेशनल हाईवेज लगभग 92,000 किलोमीटर थे। पर मुझे फक्र है इस बात को कहते हुए कि प्रधानमंत्री जी की विजन और आदरणीय नितिन गडकरी जी का टायरलेस एफर्ट, हमने 11 साल के अंदर 60,000 किलोमीटर का नेशनल हाईवे बना के दिया है। और वो नेशनल हाईवे सिर्फ कंक्रीट की रोड पर नहीं है, वो देश की इकोनॉमी की रोड है। वो देश की इकोनॉमी की रोड इस तरह से है, जब कंक्रीट की रोड बनती है तो उसके माध्यम से जो रोजगार पैदा हुआ, आपको जानकर के हैरानी होगी कि पिछले 5 साल में केवल 550 करोड़ मैन डेज का रोजगार हमने सिर्फ रोड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में काम करने से पैदा किया, चाहे वो डायरेक्ट था, इनडायरेक्ट था या इंड्यूस था। ये केवल 5 साल का आंकड़ा दे रहा हूं। और अभी पिछले जो रोजगार मेला लगातार प्रधानमंत्री जी की विजन से लगता है और उसके अंदर 10.5 लाख नए रोजगार पिछले 5 साल में मोदी जी की सरकार ने पैदा किए हैं। और उसके अंदर सबसे बड़ी बात इंटरव्यू को खत्म करना। और जब सरकार का एडवर्टीजमेंट निकलता है, ये वैकेंसीज हैं, इसके लिए अप्लाई कीजिए, एग्जाम होगा, तो उसकी डेट शीट भी उसके साथ निकलती है और उस डेट शीट को एडहियर किया जाता है। पहले ऐसा नहीं था। पहले एग्जाम होने के बाद इंटरव्यू कॉल होता था और इंटरव्यू होने के बाद जो डेट ऑफ अपॉइंटमेंट थी वो 1 महीना 2 महीने एक्सटेंड की जाती थी। ये वेट किया जाता था कि जिसका इंटरव्यू हुआ है वो किसी तरह संपर्क करे। आज वो टाइम बाउंड हुआ है, जिसके कारण से आज सरकारी नौकरी भी बिना भ्रष्टाचार के मिल रही है। अगर 45 दिन के अंदर अंदर एडवर्टीजमेंट से लेकर के और अपॉइंटमेंट लेटर मिलना है तो वो 45वें दिन ही मिलेगा। ये व्यवस्था आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की विजन ने देश के युवाओं के लिए की है। आप आज रोजगार का पैमाना अगर हम चेक करें तो लगभग 11 करोड़ से ज्यादा प्रोविडेंट फंड में एंट्रीज हो चुकी हैं पिछले 5 साल में। मैं पिछले 5 साल का आंकड़ा दे रहा हूं अधिकांशतः। तो आप सोचिए 11 करोड़ से ज्यादा रोजगार नया पैदा हुआ है, हमारे युवाओं के लिए अपॉर्चुनिटीज आई हैं। और जब हम बात करते हैं कि जो हमारा रोड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है इसने देश की इकोनॉमी में इजाफा किया है, तो खाली रोजगार से नहीं किया है। आज हमारे हाईवेज जब गांवों से कनेक्ट होते हैं, प्रधानमंत्री सड़क योजना की बात करूं तो प्रधानमंत्री सड़क योजना के अंतर्गत 2014 से पहले 3.5 लाख किलोमीटर की सड़कें थीं, जो आदरणीय अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी ने प्रधानमंत्री ग्रामीण सड़क योजना को प्रारंभ किया था। आज वो बढ़ के 7.5 लाख किलोमीटर हुए हैं। कोई हाईवे से कोई भी गांव इतनी दूर नहीं है कि वो 70 किलोमीटर से दूर हो। मतलब किसी भी गांव से किसी भी हाईवे तक पहुंचना हो तो आज 1.5 या 2 घंटे में हमारा गांव ग्रामीण वासी किसी हाईवे तक पहुंच पाता है। मतलब उसका जो गांव का प्रोड्यूस है, दूध, दही, फल, सब्जी, अनाज, जो पेरिशेबल आइटम्स हैं, आज वो 2 घंटे में हाईवे से पहुंच के अपनी मार्केट में, अपनी सिटीज में जाके पहुंचाता है, जिसके कारण से देश की इकोनॉमी आज विश्व की 4थी बड़ी इकोनॉमी बनी है। और देश के 25 करोड़ गरीब लोग, पहले की सरकारों ने खूब नारा दिया गरीबी हटाओ का, गरीबी नहीं हटी, गरीब हटे, पर ये पहली बार देश के अंदर ये वो सरकार है जिसमें 25 करोड़ गरीब लोग गरीबी रेखा से बाहर आए। मित्रों, आज हम प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का जन्मदिवस, चाहे वो भारतीय जनता पार्टी हो या भारतीय जनता पार्टी की 21 राज्यों में एनडीए की सरकारें हों, सेवा पखवाड़ा के रूप में मनाते हैं। सेवा पखवाड़ा इसलिए कि प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जब 2014 में प्रधानमंत्री पद की शपथ ली थी तो उन्होंने ये कहा था कि मेरी ये सरकार गरीबों को समर्पित सरकार है। और केवल कहा नहीं, 250 से ज्यादा गरीब कल्याण की योजनाएं उस समय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने प्रारंभ की। न केवल योजनाएं प्रारंभ की बल्कि उनको मूर्त रूप दिया, उनको मॉनिटर किया। आप देखिए 2014 में देश के अंदर 18,000 गांव ऐसे थे जिनमें बिजली नहीं थी। प्रधानमंत्री जी ने अगर यह संकल्प लिया कि 5 साल में 18,000 गांवों को इलेक्ट्रीफाई किया जाएगा तो 5 साल से पहले 4 साल में पूरे होते हैं। और उसके बाद का उनका संकल्प कि हर उस गांव के हर उस घर में बल्ब जलेगा, बिजली होगी। तो आज उस संकल्प को भी प्रधानमंत्री जी की जो सरकार है, नरेंद्र मोदी की सरकार है, उसने पूरा किया है। आज 15 करोड़ घरों में नल से जल पहुंचाने का काम प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने किया है। मैं आपको वो बात बता रहा हूं जो आम जनता के लिए, एक गरीब आदमी के लिए मूलभूत सुविधाओं की बात है। बिजली की, पानी की, गैस के चूल्हे की, घर में बिजली की, नौकरी की, एक रेहड़ी पटरी वाले की। यह प्रधानमंत्री जी की विजन है। देश में 65 साल की आजादी के बाद आप सोचिए, अगर 18,000 गांव में बिजली नहीं है तो एक बार 10 मिनट के लिए हमारे घरों में बिजली चली जाती है तो हम लोगों का क्या हाल होता है। हम डिस्कनेक्ट हो जाते हैं पूरे देश से, पूरे समाज से। यह प्रधानमंत्री जी की विजन है जिसके कारण से आज भारत विश्व में उन देशों की श्रेणी में खड़ा है जिसकी तरफ पूरा विश्व शांति दूत के रूप में भी देखता है। आज रशिया यूक्रेन की लड़ाई होती है तो उसमें अगर रशिया और यूक्रेन दोनों, और स्वयं अमेरिका भी यह देखता है कि अगर इनके बीच में कोई समझौता करा सकता है, युद्ध को शांति में बदल सकता है, तो वो केवल एक ही लीडर है, वो है प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी। आज भारत का सम्मान पूरे विश्व में उस स्तर पे पहुंचा है कि एक समय था जब गुजरात के मुख्यमंत्री को अमेरिका ने वीजा डिनाई किया था। आज वही अमेरिका है जो प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी, उसी शख्स के लिए रेड कारपेट बिछाता है। आज भारत, एक बार मैं किसी कार्यक्रम में, मुझे किसी बुजुर्ग ने कहा कि मोदी जी को धन्यवाद दे दीजिएगा। मैं भी थोड़ा आश्चर्यचकित हुआ। मैंने कहा ठीक है, बहुत सी बातें हैं उनको धन्यवाद देने की, पर आप किस बात के लिए कह रहे हैं? तो उनका कहना था कि आज मैं अमेरिका में रहता हूं, मेरे बच्चे यहाँ रहते हैं, मैं साल में 2 बार वापस भारत आता हूं, दिल्ली आता हूं। एक वो समय था जब इंडियंस अमेरिकन्स में, अमेरिका में या किसी और देश में जाते थे तो उनकी स्क्रूटनी, उनकी सिक्योरिटी चेक इस तरह से होता था कि पता नहीं कोई चोर आ गया हो। आज भारत का सम्मान पूरे विश्व में आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी के कारण इस स्तर पे बढ़ा है कि वहां पर हमें आम जो नागरिकों का सिक्योरिटी होता है उससे भी बेहतर तरीके से ट्रीट किया जाता है, क्योंकि आप इंडियन हैं, आपका पासपोर्ट इंडियन है। यह सम्मान प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के कारण आज भारतीयों का भी हुआ है। मैं एक बार पुनः आपके माध्यम से पूरे देश को और आप सबको भी इस बात के लिए भी धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं कि लगातार तीसरी बार भारतीय जनता पार्टी एनडीए की सरकार आप लोगों के आशीर्वाद से बनी है। और ये विश्वास मोदी जी की जो गारंटी है ये सिर्फ जुमला नहीं है। अगर मोदी जी कोई बात कहते हैं तो वो बात पूरी भी होती है। इसलिए मोदी की गारंटी का मतलब है स्वयं मोदी उसकी गारंटी है। मैं एक बार पुनः आप सबको मोदी जी के जन्मदिवस पर देश के अंदर जो सेवा पखवाड़ा प्रारंभ किया है उसकी और मोदी जी के जन्मदिन की बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं और रिपब्लिक की टीम को भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूं कि मुझे मौका दिया आप सबके बीच में बात करने का। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। भारत माता की जय।
Thank you very much, sir. That was a very, very powerful address, and on behalf of the Republic team, we would like to present a small token of appreciation for the minister soon after the session is done. Harsh sir and Arnab sir, if we can please request both of you on stage for the memento. Request the minister and Republic's editor-in-chief to please be on stage for the memento. Thank you very much, sir. That was a very powerful address. Can we have a huge round of applause for him, please? Thank you very much, sir. Himanshu, over to you.
Hello, Moto. Our next speaker represents the spirit of Bharat going global. As the global head of brand at Motorola, Mr. Shivam Ranjan has been instrumental in shaping a brand that carries both global influence and deep Indian roots.
Absolutely, Himanshu. And now from bringing a cutting-edge technology to Indian consumers to positioning Motorola as a leader in innovation worldwide. His journey shows how ideas are born in Bharat and that can inspire aspirations across the globe. Let's also take a closer look at his remarkable work.
From technology to storytelling, from Bharat to the world. This is the journey of Shivam Ranjan, global head of brand at Motorola. He began his career with one of India's biggest IT giants. From consumer tech to digital finance, he built campaigns that blended strategy with soul, performance with purpose.
We've always believed in making the phone, which is actually an extension of the consumer's lifestyle, something that also could be a way that they express themselves, is a way that they style themselves, and is a way that they feel comfortable with themselves in every day, right?
In 2019, he joined Motorola to lead marketing in India. By 2023, his vision expanded to Asia Pacific. In 2025, he was entrusted with the global stage. He believes features don't build loyalty, meaning does.
When I talk about end consumer experience, I think, consumers no longer are looking for, say, just a megapixel or the MAH, right? They're seeing what is it exactly delivering. That's a big trend which will continue to grow. And I think here it will become more and more important for consumers or brands, in fact, to create differentiation and to create experiences that are meaningful, yet simple enough for the consumers to understand and absorb.
Rooted in Bharat, yet resonating worldwide, his mission is clear: to make Motorola not just a global brand, but a brand with heart. Because building for the globe always begins at home.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Shivam Ranjan, Global Head of Brand, Motorola. He is in conversation with Mr. Pranav Kulkarni, Deputy Editor, Republic Business.
Shivam, it's lovely to have you with us.
Same here.
To begin with, we just heard from a legendary entrepreneur talking about one of the most iconic brands in the country. And when we talk about Motorola, the Hello Moto tone, it's yet another, legendary tune that, rings in our ears. I want to ask you a bit about yourself. How did you land up in Motorola?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great beginning that you mentioned the ringtone, the Hello Moto. So before I talk about my journey, maybe I'll just give a glimpse of the brand itself, right? I mean, we spoke about an iconic brand from India, which is Airtel. But I think Motorola has been one of the most iconic brands. In fact, a lot of people might not know, but the famous words in 1969 when we landed on the moon, right? The words, one small step for man and a giant leap for mankind, that came through to the earth from the moon on a Motorola transponder.
Oh, really?
So Motorola was there on the moon in 1969.
Okay.
So a brand that has had a legacy of now over 96 years, it's a 96-year-old brand, has been at the forefront of technology since then. And in fact, that was not the only thing. In 1973, right, the world's first mobile phone call was made. And that was made on a Motorola phone. So the world's first mobile phone actually was created by Motorola. Wow. Okay. So this industry that we are in today, we are the pioneers of this industry. And I think it's a great honor for me to now be heading this brand at a global stage. A company that has seen over 96 years of innovation and has been at the forefront of technology across the board at multiple key moments of human innovation, right? But yes, I mean, my first touch point with Motorola was the Razr, right? Okay. As a person, right? I owned the Razr. I don't know, some of you might have owned the Razr, the iconic, super slim, phone, the flip phone, the keyboard phone, right? Back in, during my college days, I owned one. And it was an experience. I loved the experience. I loved the association with the brand, and that memory stayed with me. Mm-hmm. So when I got the opportunity back in 2019 to join Motorola, at that stage in India, actually, Motorola was not at the forefront. It was trying to come back to India and gain share. It was a small organization. In fact, I was working with Airtel at that time. So okay, wow. I forgot to mention, but before that I was with Airtel. I was heading marketing for their fintech division. That's the time when I joined Motorola to head marketing for them in 2019. Then a few years down the road, we changed the course of Motorola's journey in India and globally. Mm-hmm. We started seeing rapid growth. And that is when I took over the entire Asia Pacific role. Where we again started seeing penetration across geos like Japan, Australia, which is where now again we are a number 3 brand. Right. And India, we've come from a journey where, say about 4 years back, we were at less than 2% share, market share player. Today we are 8% and growing, and about to break into the top 3 brands in the country. So from there to now, heading the brand globally.
Motorola has been among the trendsetters, so to say. They were the first ones to introduce the Moto Razr, which was an iconic phone. Talking about making in India, because that's the buzzword right now, how is it for a global company like Motorola to manufacture from India? I mean, could you just tell us what exactly and how exactly is it that Motorola manufactures from India?
No, I think it's a great question, but right now I am very proud to say that almost 100% of what we sell in India is actually made in India. 100%, okay. Right? And thank you. So that is definitely happening, and it's not just that, right? We are not just making in India to sell in India, we're actually exporting to multiple countries as well from India. Okay. And that's thanks to the incentives, the policies that the government has given to promote manufacturing in India. I think PLI has been a very important factor in helping us grow our manufacturing capabilities. Also, the growth of indigenous manufacturers, contract manufacturers like Dixon, right, who've come up in India, set up shop, and really scaled up their skill sets and innovation capabilities so that we can partner with them and do local manufacturing in India. So it is, I think, very, very important for us as a global brand to continue to find different opportunities of creating manufacturing hubs. We don't want to be restricted in one particular country, one particular geo, because there are always geopolitical issues that might prop up and hence restrict your ability to export, to import, or to move around, right? So which is why we are actually a truly global organization that believes in creating multiple manufacturing hubs across the world. And India is one very prominent one of them.
But as a manufacturer who's then located out of different countries, what is so unique about manufacturing from India? What are the differences? What are the challenges or the advantages that India offers as a manufacturing hub?
Yeah, no, I think, like I said, from a manufacturing perspective, there are these policies, the government policies, the regulations which have encouraged manufacturing. There are the whole aspect of having this large base of young talent, right, at an employable age, right? I think that again gives us the opportunity to have this set of people who are able to learn, who are able to upskill, and who are able to deliver in terms of delivering best-in-class manufacturing capabilities, and also the tech-first mindset, the innovative mindset that the Indians have. I think all these are positives, but I think the contribution or the role of India is beyond just manufacturing, right? I think what we have seen is that the role of India to the brand globally is beyond manufacturing. It's actually across multiple sectors like product development, portfolio management, marketing, brand. Because if you look at the importance of India now in the overall scheme of the smartphone industry, India today is the second largest global smartphone market, right? 150 million smartphones, more than 150 million smartphones sold every year, shipments in India, right? And a base of over 700 million people. So it's a second largest market, one of the largest bases. It is absolutely critical for any global smartphone brand to be successful in India because it requires scale for us as a brand globally, right? To be successful globally, you need scale. And if you're not successful in India, you're missing a huge lot of scale.
But then here, this is where I want to bring you to one aspect where, we remember as kids, in fact, Motorola was the phone that we all aspired to have. And then there was a phase wherein we, experienced the Apples coming in, and Nokia, for example, was there. Has there been a loss of market share in between? And how have you, overcome that challenging phase through your existence in India?
No, I think, great question. And absolutely yes, right? I mean, for a lot of years, right, back in the day when we invented the mobile phone, and a lot of years after that, for many decades, in fact, after that, Motorola was the world's leading smartphone brand. Our share was #1 across all markets globally. And, we were synonymous with the phone, right, at one point of time. It's buy a Motorola, like you say Colgate, right? So that was what we had. But then, yes, over a period of time, we faced challenges with competition coming in. We faced, newer technologies coming in, etc. There was a change in management also. We had to, we were acquired by Google first, and then later on by Lenovo. So change of ownership happened. But I think, there were gaps in which we lost market share. But I think the reason why we've now been able to come back is the fact that we've been committed to innovation. I think that has been at the core. Even though we faced a lot of challenges, the whole strategy and the reason why we are back today. In fact, this is an industry, by the way, this industry, the smartphone industry, is not a very forgiving industry. We all remember many iconic brands that have disappeared, right? Absolutely. BlackBerry is one.
Like Nokia.
Yeah, Nokia is one, HTC is one. So for a brand to come back in this industry, that's a rare phenomena. But I would give a lot of credit to our global leadership, Mr. Sergio Buniac, who's our global president, who's led this charge. But I think the core to our success was that we stuck to our roots.
Okay.
So we decided when we saw that our products were not competitive enough. Okay. I think the core was to listen to the consumers. When the consumers said your products are not competitive enough and we will not buy it, that was a moment when we decided to step back.
Okay.
So we decided to stop our marketing investments. We decided to reinvent our business models, right? We wanted to, reduce the costs, bring in efficiencies, optimize our supply chains. And, that was a time when we focused all our investments in R&D, right? Come up with products that are competitive, give more value to the consumers, and are able to compete in some of the most competitive markets.
So do you think now you've got the pulse of Indian consumer?
Yes.
What is it that the Indian consumer is now demanding? What is it that we will see in the years ahead now?
No, I think, the Indian consumer is actually very smart. In fact, if I had to give you an example, one of the, we actually feel that the smartest base of consumers actually globally, right, is in India.
Okay.
And the reason for that is, I think, the growth of online marketplaces, right, in India. Most of the other markets from a smartphone perspective are either carrier-led, which means operator-led markets, right, where operators sell your phone. So if you look at the US, you buy a phone from a carrier. It's either Verizon or some other carrier. You look at Japan, similar, right? And there are a lot of other markets where it's retail-driven, right? So mostly it's a push market. I mean, people know of a brand, they'll buy it. They don't need to necessarily know what specification is there, what leading piece of technology is there. They don't inquire so much. But here in India, because of an extremely competitive environment with over 25 smartphone brands existing in the market, and the rise of online e-commerce platforms, consumers have access to all the specifications.
Okay.
So they do the research. In fact, there are times when a consumer asks a question which most of us think will only be asked by a product guy, like, does this support 4K video recording? Does this chipset support, 4 nanometer process? I mean, these are things you don't hear anywhere in the world, right? So the consumer here is very, very, picky, choosy. But I think that is what gives us the advantage. If we design for India, if we take these competitive challenges from India and design a product that is competitive in India, then that product is likely to be competitive globally. There's no chance that it will not be competitive globally.
As someone who's a sectoral expert, I want to understand from you. We've seen the kind of transformation that technology has undergone over the past about 10, 20 years. It's been very rapid. We saw, push button phones, then we saw smartphones, we saw wearable technology. I want to understand from you as a consumer and to someone who's an expert in the domain, where is this going? What are we going to see next in technology?
I mean, technology, like you said, right? I mean, I think it evolved. First of all, the first set of evolution that we saw was on hardware, right? I mean, hardware was the first to evolve, where you saw a touch button moving to screens. You saw, cameras evolving to, now with a phone you can take DSLR level pictures. You don't need to carry a separate camera. I mean, literally video cameras have died out, right? I mean, so you see the first set of evolution has happened in terms of hardware. But I think now we've reached a stage in the industry where hardware is no longer the big differentiation, right? It could matter a little bit at a particular price point. You could have something more at a particular price point versus another. But things are now beyond hardware. The next set of innovation is where you will see it in terms of software differentiation, in terms of consumer experience that is being delivered on the phone. And that, I think, the biggest disruption will be AI, right? Because frankly, I mean, we are seeing AI penetrate every industry today, right? It is the forefront of all conversation. But I think one thing we should realize is, smartphones are actually the closest to us, in terms of our lives, right?
Right.
You are with your smartphone from the time you wake up in the morning till the time you go to bed. Absolutely. So that is one piece of device, that's one object or device that you carry with you wherever you go. So the access to AI and the use of AI and the role of AI on your smartphone will be the most significant piece of technological advancement that you will see in the near future.
And what is it that Motorola is working on? Do we see Motorola disrupting the market in the next about few years? Do you see replacing an Apple? The aspirations that have been associated with an Apple, in the Indian market, so to say?
No, absolutely. See, I think our journey, across markets has been quite significant, very positive. I mean, today we are the number 3 brand in North America. We are the number 2 brand in Latin America. Mm-hmm. And in APAC, we are growing in triple-digit shares, right? So there is something that we are doing right. Mm-hmm. Some of the key pillars of what we are doing right are, maybe I'd like to call them out, right? I think one of the things that we picked up and we focused on for the past 3-4 years, which has led to this growth for us, is focus on design, right? I think it was not something which was very obvious. When you surveyed a consumer also, they did not say design was the reason that they would buy a smartphone, because design did not exist as a differentiation in the smartphone category at that point of time. But we picked that up. We partnered with a global leader in color science called Pantone. Now, Pantone, if you, Pantone defines colors, right? Okay. It literally gives Pantone codes. So people in the design field, etc., would know Pantone. So we partnered with Pantone, who's a global leader in color science, and asked them to suggest the top trends in colors to us. We started adopting those colors into our phones. Okay. So you will see that today the Motorola portfolio of smartphones has the most differentiated colors on the phones. And not just colors. We started innovating in terms of materials and finishes. So today you have Motorola phones which come with a wooden finish, which come with a marble finish at the back, which come with Alcantara. Alcantara, by the way, is a material that you see in ultimate luxury cars, right? Okay. That's super, super luxury. So we've got these kind of materials also now in our phones, and that is what has created a big wave of differentiation for us globally and in India, where consumers see why we are different and they like what we are doing, right? The other thing the other way in which we are differentiating is to give consumers more value, both in terms of hardware and software. So in terms of hardware, I would say, like I said, there's no innovation that's happening, but to get features, premium features at a more accessible price point, I think that creates the disruption. And in terms of software and AI, giving consumers some of the leading technology in the world. Today we have been recognized in India as India's leading smartphone brand in AI, right? And the reason for that is that we are not just focusing on developing our own AI, which is Moto AI, but we are also partnering with all the top AI proponents in the industry. So we've got Google Gemini on our phones, we've got Microsoft Copilot on our phones, and we've got Perplexity AI also on our phones. Okay. So we are the only brand in the smartphone industry that doesn't say we come with one AI agent. We have our own AI, but we give consumers the choice of 3 more AI agents, which are the leading agents in the world. So we are offering consumers the best of what there exists.
Wonderful. Shivam, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you so much. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you for having me.
I request Pranav and our guest to please remain on stage, and can we please have the memento? Can we have a please huge round of applause? Thank you, everybody. Again, I request everybody to please be seated. There are a few more sessions that we have lined up for you.
Well, our next leader is a storyteller, an investor, and I would call him a maverick. As founder, Phi Capital, and co-founder of Classic Legends, Mr. Anupam Thareja has not only created value in businesses, but also revived legacies.
Absolutely. Now, by bringing back iconic motorcycle brands like Java, Yezdi, and BSA, he has redefined how heritage can meet modern innovation, building legacies that endure across generations. Let's first take a closer look at his inspiring journey.
The clarity which we had of having this brand after looking at all that was available, and they were much more easier to get to, right? because they were sellers. Yeah, David Bennett of BSA was not a seller, right? And that's what was the fun part.
Okay.
When you really know what you want and you really go after it, I think that's what passion is, and that's what challenges do. So yeah, it was a brand we lost, we got it back.
Okay.
And then we put our heart and soul into it, right?
Legacy, nostalgia, reinvention. For Anupam Thareja, founder, investor, brand builder, motorcycles are more than machines. They are cultural icons, reborn for a new era.
I loved Java when I was a kid. I made bikes when I was young. I worked in a bike company. I've traveled around the world. And now I'm an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, trying to turn around Java. So it's in my mind. It's in my heart. But am I the only one, or is somebody else around there too? So I did a research, and I know that the most important real estate in the world is the human mind. And all I wanted to figure out is Java is there. Then we'll figure out how to get it out. Then we'll figure out the right way to do it.
A vision to revive icons. India's most loved motorcycles. The golden era reborn. In 2018, Java roared back onto Indian roads. By 2022, YesD followed.
Google images YesD, old images YesD. One of the first image you will get is a gray YesD on a beach with knobby tire and a big handlebar. You will get it. Just Google it. It's easy, right? So people were using it as a scram. They were using it as an adventure, and they were using it in city as a roadster. That's what YesD was.
Within just 5 years, Classic Legends expanded across 400 dealerships in India, with growing presence in European and Asian markets. In 2024, production crossed 75,000 motorcycles annually, with international exports contributing significantly to growth. This revival goes beyond motorcycles. It's about brand equity, design that respects heritage, engineering to global standards. The mission is clear: turn nostalgia into lifestyle. Make it sustainable, make it timeless, make it a cult. Because as they say, building a legacy isn't inherited, it's crafted. Anupam Thareja, shaping businesses, reviving legends, and redefining what it means to build enduring impact.
What an incredible journey that was. And before we introduce our guest on stage, may we please have a special entry?
Are we ready?
It was a fantastic entry.
I wish I was riding a pillion here.
Okay. Are we live?
And now for the most awaited moment, ladies and gentlemen, a very interesting session that all of us were looking forward to. Please welcome on stage Mr. Anupam Thareja, founder, Phi Capital, and co-founder of the Classic Legends.
So, I wanted to start with an anecdote, Anupam. In my family, between me and my brother, we've owned 4 bikes. And all the 4 bikes have been from the same brand. Started with a Machismo 500, then moved to a Machismo, a 350. There was a Electra 350. And finally, my brother's still riding a Himalayan. But he bought that bike about 5 to 6 years back because a Java was not in the market. A YesD was not in the market. They were dead brands in the biking world, right? First of all, thank you for bringing them back, because I remember growing up seeing the rascals, as you call them, riding the YesD and the Java. Why did you bring these bikes back to life?
Can you guys hear me? So imagine he calls me on a stage and he tells me he has 4 bikes of my competitor, right? I don't know how to start with that.
Had.
No, I think there is a very interesting story. I think it is in 2015. I was having lunch with Anand Mahindra. Some of you who know him will realize that he is a Taurian, right? And he prides himself that I'm very stubborn, right? So he's a stubborn Taurian. And he was just getting out of a two-wheeler venture which was not doing so well. And both of us were sitting and we were strategizing what to do. And he asked me, if you were me, what would you do? So I said, listen, I got a few brands. If I were you, I'd be doing Yazdi and Java and nothing else, right? And it was just a casual comment I made from a more strategic and overall perspective. And I was also coming out of the reminiscences of, by the way, I was involved in Royal Enfield from 2005 when the turnaround happened. So I was also reminiscing the past of how to revive brands. And I didn't realize that Anand is not only stubborn, but he is obsessive and quick, right? We just realized that the Yazdi brand is owned by a guy called Baman Irani, who runs a company called Rustamji. He's a builder in Bombay. It's his father who had brought Java and Yazdi to India, and he owns the brand. So very quickly, it's all happening. We call it pronoia or serendipity. It's all happening there. He just picks up a phone and says, I was in Lovedale in Ooty, and I had this girl who was from the Yazdi family, Faribose. So he calls Faribose and says, Faribose, how do I get in touch with Baman? So we all knew Baman socially. Anyway, long story short, he fixes up a meeting. I was leaving for, I remember, Varanasi that day. And I came back from Varanasi and went from the airport to see Baman. And because I was there, I was wearing a kurti and a jeans and you get that Rudraksh mala. So I was wearing that. I didn't even care. I just went to his office. And Baman, expecting me to come to buy his brand, for the first time probably he wore a suit and a tie and properly polished shoes, and he was waiting for me. But the long story short is that I went in there and we spoke about Yazdi. And like what happens with bikes, Niranjan,
yes.
Baman teared up and he said, if my father would be sitting here and